Well, this morning we have the distinguished pleasure to introduce our first guest, Chief Gani Adams, who is the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yorubaland. He joins us virtually this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Chief Gani Adams. It's good to see you, even though we wish that you would have been in one of our studios. But very interesting times that we have now found ourselves as a country. And there are very, very strong concerns around the area of security. I want to believe that you have listened to the governors of the South, particularly the governor of Ogun State, who delivered the communique, from what the governors had, had in their own meeting. What are your thoughts as to some of the things that he's proposing through federalism, state policing, strengthening grassroots security? What exactly is missing? Because we've seen that in recent times. This is not the first time we're having this conversation. We even had something at birth at the association we now know as, or the security outfit we now know as Amotekun. And there are questions as to what exactly needs to be done, much more than what the governors have already done in the Southwest.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Agnes family. Firstly, my name is Iba Gani Adams, not former Chief Gani Adams. Where I totally agree with the Southern governors on the basis of we need state police urgently. And state police is one of the content of true federalism. And at the same time, I commend the Southwest governor because they have already taken a position earlier before the Southern governors. Anybody who loves this country will not disagree on state police on the situation we have. Some people always have an opinion that the governors will misuse state police against their political opponents. But my own thought is that let us talk about the protection of life and property first, which is the first responsibility of any government. And when you are talking about partisan politics, that's secondary aspect of life and governance. We are talking of life and property to be protected by the government, who are constituted authorities. And the major factors and the major impediments we always have about security is that the security was not recruited from their state and their community, even in their local governments. And the issue of governance always lies first on locality, from the community, local government, states, and the federal. If the people of the community did not have the opportunity to police and secure their community, bringing someone who is not familiar with the community to come and secure that community, it will be very difficult. I'm from Arigidi, Akoko in Ondo State. We know our history very well. We know the background of the headquarters in our communities. And we know the family that reside there for about 3 generations. So definitely we have an information of some areas and some people who have criminal background. If anything happens in that community, we know how to trace the beginning of that issue. And when we know our forests, we know when intruders came into our forests. And from that angle, people from community can be recruited to be part of state police. And in the country that have 3 tiers of government, there is no way you can run that country with only one structure of policing. If you don't allow the 3 tiers of government to have their structure of police, there's no way you can have effective security. And for the first time, that the 6 geopolitical zones of this country agree on state police. Even our northern brothers, the northern governors, the emirs, need to agree on state police. And I believe that if the National Assembly legislates on state police and the president sign it to law, the issue of insecurity will be resolved in this country within a period of 6 months. Because although we have our own Amotekun in Southwest, but the power of Amotekun is very, very limited. They did not have the opportunity to carry modern weapons to confront these terrorists. The challenge we are having in Nigeria, beyond thefts and robbery, we are talking of people moving with sophisticated weapons to the extent moving with some machine gun and anti-aircraft weapon in their shoulders. So for you to confront those kind of criminals, you need to be in possession of a modern weapon and even technology in terms of drones and in terms of having the technology to know where they are, to discover them where they are in our forests. One of our problems is that the federal government national forests, we are talking of the federal government national forests. Most of our people in Yoruba land do normally go there. Forest reserve in our area. Most of our people do normally go there. This is the government of federal government. We don't want to intrude to that forest. But these criminals are familiar to that forest. They know how to move from Kogi and move down to Keogun. From there to our border cities in Iwoyi. So they took that advantage to create unnecessary security threats in our region. We are still lucky compared to what is happening in the remaining 5 zones in Nigeria. So definitely all hands must be on deck to prepare for a way to protect our region in Yoruba land.
Well, you had raised a signal a few weeks back. Some people say you had raised an alarm, especially in the wake of what the United States had, U.S. President Donald Trump had threatened to do for Nigerian Christians or on behalf of Nigerian Christians. You seem to have welcomed that particular support, saying that terrorists had circled the Southwest, North Central and South region, and that they were waiting for a signal from foreign sponsors to unleash coordinated attacks. It was a press conference which you granted, I think, sometime on the 17th of November. Can you give us, will I say, a status update in terms of what has happened? Is the Southwest still under the threat which you had raised a few weeks back?
Well, definitely we have intel that we have been seriously infiltrated in our region. The buffer zones to the Southwest is Kogi and Kwara, and the constant attacks on the Yoruba-speaking states, speaking people in Kwara State, give us a lot of worry. And Yoruba-speaking people in Kogi State too, because we realize there are 3 major tribes in Kogi State, the Gala, Igbira, and the Oku, which are Yorubas. And we noticed that the attack always comes to the Yoruba people without. We did not pray that it should happen to other tribes in Kogi State. But on the basis of common sense, the attack on the Yorubas people gave us a signal that these people have an agenda, ethnic cleansing agenda against our race. And what happened in Babana and Okeode. And what happened in Iruku in Kwara State, which we lost nothing less than 70 people, and about 38 people was kidnapped in Iruku in Kwara State. Countless numbers of people was kidnapped in about 20 communities within the Abala and Okeode. And a pocket of some kidnapping in some areas in Yoruba land. About 3 days ago, on confirmed report in the social media that a full load of bus going to Abuja was intercepted by these criminals, and the driver of the vehicle was killed instantly. About 18 people was whisked away. Only they just leave one little child, and the rescue team came and picked that child beside the bus. And apart from that, we have intel that some of our community have been infiltrated, especially Lagos, Ondo, Ekiti, and Oyo State. So we have to prepare. As the area of the Kakampo of Yoruba land, by history, traditional defense minister, when the empire was still there, I have to do something to alert my people that we have to be security conscious, and we have to be careful of the strangers or a person who visit our community. If they notice a strange move, they should report to appropriate authorities. And at the same time, the level we have in Nigeria today, we have to let our people know that it is very, very important that if there is an external intervention to make our country secure, it's welcome. Because I read it in the newspaper 3 days ago that about 7,000 Nigerians are still in captivity of these terrorists. In Zamfara alone, we have about 6,000 people. And the remaining 1,000 was from about 5 or 6 states in Nigeria. A country that has law and order, a country that has constituted authority, a common criminal, taking the stage of 7,000 citizens. That signals a lot of concern for a reasonable citizen of this country. And look at what happened in Benin Republic yesterday. Nigeria intervened because we have the capacity. So when we have a country that have the capacity to collaborate with Nigeria to make Nigeria secure, it's welcome development. And I believe the president has started the move by constituted a committee to interface with the U.S. government to make sure even U.S. can give us intel about this criminal. Is welcome. I look at what is happening when European Union was supporting Ukraine against Russia. There was a minor disagreement between U.S. government and the European Union. And the U.S. government threatened them. We stop giving you an intelligence to fight this cause. The European Union moved closer and appeals to the U.S. No, we are not fighting you. We need your intelligence. There is no doubt that the U.S. is one of the police of the world. They have the capability, they have the capacity to help any country if it's on the level of sincerity and cooperation. So what is happening in this country, if care is not taken, if we don't manage it well, if we don't look for a way to flush out this criminal in our country, if there is any problem in the country, who will accept our refugees? Because we have the capacity. That was one of the reasons we assist Benin Republic yesterday. So any country that has the capacity to help us, I believe is a welcome development.
Well, I know that my colleague Ayo has questions for you, and who would like to pose them as well. Ayo.
Well, thank you, Mokwe. You know, it's exactly that point that I'd like to start with, sir, on the conversation this morning. It happened very close to home, and as you said, Nigeria intervened. But then there are border communities, and it is a long-held history that the it's almost as if the lines between the border lines between Nigeria and Benin Republic are almost like they don't exist, because we pretty much interchange in a number of things. Now, when the coup scare occurred, a good number of Nigerians were saying, this is too close to home. I mean, who was to say that's not going to happen again in this country? But thankfully, it's rested where it is now. But then you talked about local communities having capacity and all of that. In terms of security, we have local government authorities. We have traditional rulers. So when we hear of insecurity and the threats on the scale at which you are describing, one wonders whether or not the systems that existed back in the day, the formula where people asked questions in communities when they see a stranger, those were the first lines of defense that the people had. Local government authorities had their own security meetings, but it will seem like all of those have kind of diminished now. How significant is the local government authority and the traditional rulers and the traditional leaders, community development associations in the various communities? How important are they in the scheme of things when it comes to security of their communities?
Where the traditional rulers have more potentials on their community in terms of security. If I have my way, Nigeria should have 3 structures of policing: federal, state, and local government police. In most of the country, okay, let us take US for example. We have the FBI for federal, we have the state police, and we have the county police. Even in Britain, we have the municipal police, and we have a structure of state police in the UK. So if local government do not have their own policing, there is limits they can do. Most of the security meetings in the local government by the chairman, they will bring different type of structure of security, and they don't have control over their own security in their local government. If there is a community police in the local government or local government police, the traditional rulers and the leaders of the community will recommend men and women of integrity.
Well, I apologize for butting in.
Of that structure of policing.
Gani Adams, I apologize. If you don't mind me butting, I sincerely apologize for butting in. But, you know, the question that I'm asking is not not about the formal security systems. By the way, I mean, you talking the other time, everybody knows, and I think it's been also been elaborated by everybody else, that it's not just Southwesterners that have been, that are suffering, this insecurity and stuff that we're talking about. It's not also restricted to any religion at that. And the local authorities have a responsibility to protect the people among them. Excuse me, you are not unaware, sir, I'm sure, that the Yorubas have been very, very, very welcoming to virtually every community, every ethnic region that comes into their midst. The question that I'm asking is, there was a system. It was informal, but it was a system that the people in the communities respected. The security agencies respected it as well. The community development associations, it was like the civilians themselves had their own security system. That's the point that I'm making. Do you think that has collapsed, or you think there is a way that we can bring that back into our social consciousness ourselves? I apologize, Gani Adams. I think you may be muted. We still can't hear you. If you can please unmute. Oh, dear.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now. Please go ahead. I can hear you now. Please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Please go ahead.
Yeah, when you are talking of some community effort without being well structured as a police, there's limit they can do by then. Because I don't know how long we've been running away from reality in this country of putting the structure on ground on the basis of security. If we don't build it on the control of the constituted authority of the local government, there is limit they can do, my brother. And that lies with the demand of the certain governor on the situation of true federalism. If we want to move this country forward, we have to uphold the principle of true federalism. On the issue of true federalism, the structure of police must be controlled by constituted authority. I'm staying in Omolifis too, here. And I know how much we are contributing to secure this estate. And on that normal ground, in any country that have a very good police, you don't need to contribute money to secure your estate. I've traveled to about 58 countries. I know how the system works in that country. The state police or local government police will be in charge of your security in the state, community, even villages, and will be well coordinated. If you notice a security threat in the estate, you will call them immediately and they will respond. The only thing you can have is maybe a guy that will open, maybe a sliced pole that will be an entrance to the estate. And because we couldn't have a very good structure of policing, every landlord association and community try to organize their own security. And I believe that it will be minimal effective to the security of that community without having a structure controlled by the local government, state. We have a federal. What happens in local government, if you have a very good structure of policing in local government, the state police will complement what is the policing in the local government. And the federal police will complement the state police. We have our own law based on the 1999 Constitution. We have exclusive list, concurrent list, and residual. And all the lists must have their own structure of police for Nigeria to move forward. We don't need to be shy away from that. When we continue shying away from that, we continue bringing different strategy that would not work at the end of the day. Look at what has happened to us in the last 9 months in this country in terms of security. The ECOWAS report said about 5,000 lives has been lost to the terrorists or kidnappers, even or we call it bandits, in the entire West African country. And when you are talking of true federalism, the issue of devolution of power is very, very important, because when there is no job security, there is tendency that in that society you are breeding criminals. When you could not give your citizen a shelter, a minimal way of shelter, there is tendency that you are breeding a criminal. When you could not give a qualitative education, at least minimal to secondary school, and government should assist people that want to further on the education and tertiary institution, there is tendency you are breeding criminal in that society. Even though when we are talking of policing, we should be talking of good governance, how our government can rule us on the basis of good governance, that citizens will be entitled to 3 square meals, and a citizen that does not have a job, the government should make a provision of certain social assistance to them, which that can taking care of them in terms of meal and shelter until when they have opportunity to get a job to do in the country. South Africa as a country, about 57% of South Africa, they are living on the basis of social security. Nigeria as a country have the resources to do that. And if we don't do that, even though we are talking about policing Nigeria, without giving a very good economy that can cushion the effect of the citizen, there will still be a loophole on the issue of security in our country.
Well, certainly there is a very strong link between human security and also the actual security. We have to thank you very much for your interventions this morning. Gani Adams is the Are Ono Kakanfo of Yorubaland. Thank you so much for speaking with us on Sunrise Daily.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll be talking about the attempted coup that nearly happened in neighboring Benin Republic. In just a moment, please stay with us.